A sun-drenched hospital corridor stretched before them. The three-legged Belgian Malinois moved slowly, her distinctive reddish-brown coat catching the afternoon light. Beside her walked Captain Maya Rodriguez in civilian clothes, her hand resting gently on the dog's shoulder. They approached an elderly man sitting alone in a wheelchair, staring blankly at the wall. His breathing was shallow, his complexion pale. Sienna stopped, her ears perked forward. She moved closer to the man, gently placing her remaining front paw on his knee. Then she pressed her nose against the left side of his chest and held it there, a soft whine escaping her throat. Maya's eyes widened. "Nurse!" Her voice cut through the quiet corridor. "I need a doctor. Right now." A nurse appeared, confusion crossing her face. "Ma'am, is there a problem? Please, trust me." Maya's hand trembled as she kept it on Sienna's back. Something's wrong with his heart. The nurse hesitated only a moment before the urgency in Maya's voice moved her into action. Within minutes, medical staff surrounded the elderly veteran, monitoring equipment beeping to life. His eyes focused for the first time, fear replacing the blank stare. "Irregular rhythm," a doctor called out. "Get into cardiac care. Now!" As they rushed the veteran away, Maya knelt beside Sienna. Her hand shook as she stroked the dog's scarred head, tears forming in her eyes. "You did it again, girl. You saw it again." Sienna's amber eyes watched the hallway where the veteran had disappeared, her tail giving one gentle wag. Narrator, this is Sienna. 3 years ago, she saved a life that no one, not even trained doctors, knew was in danger. But the woman she saved? She almost gave up on Sienna completely. This is a story of how a military dog labeled as broken saw what humans couldn't see, and why Maya Rodriguez fought for 2 years to bring her home. The NATO peacekeeping base, Eastern Europe 847 days earlier. The kennel smelled of disinfectant and hay. Maya Rodriguez stood outside the chain-link enclosure, reading the file in her hands for the 3rd time. The words hadn't changed. Unreliable. Exhibits erratic behavior during operations. Recommended for medical retirement. Inside the kennel, a Belgian Malinois sat in the corner, her reddish-brown coat dull in the fluorescent lighting. Where her right front leg should have been, there was only scar tissue and empty space. "That's Sienna," said Master Sergeant Collins, his voice flat. "IED took her leg 8 months ago. She healed physically, but..." He shrugged. "She's not the same dog. 3 handlers have requested transfers. She won't focus, whines constantly, refuses commands during critical moments." Maya watched the dog through the fence. Sienna's amber eyes tracked her movement, alert despite her hunched posture. What kind of critical moments? Patrol 2 weeks ago. Middle of a sweep, she just stopped, started pawing at Handler Martinez's chest, whining like she'd been hit. Wouldn't move, wouldn't respond to commands. Made the whole unit vulnerable. Collins crossed his arms. Martinez requested a transfer the next day. Was Martinez okay? "What?" Collins looked confused by the question. "You said Sienna was pawing at his chest. Was Martinez injured? Sick?" "He was fine. That's the point. The dog's broken, Captain. PTSD, probably. Sees threats that aren't there. I know you requested a working dog for your security detail, but I'd recommend..." "I'll take her." Collins blinked. "Ma'am, with respect, did you hear what I heard you." Maya opened the kennel door. A dog who survived an IED, lost a leg, and still wants to work isn't broken. She's a fighter. Sienna stood as Maya entered, her body tense but not aggressive. Maya knelt slowly, extending her hand palm down. "Hey there, Sienna. I'm Maya." The dog moved forward, limping but steady. She sniffed Maya's hand, then her wrist, then moved closer. Her nose traveled up Maya's arm to her shoulder, then down to her chest, and stopped. Sienna pressed her nose against Maya's left side, just below her ribs. A soft whine escaped her throat. Her remaining front paw lifted, scratching gently at Maya's uniform. "See," Collins said from outside the kennel. "That's what she does. Random, erratic." "It's okay, girl." Maya stroked Sienna's head, feeling the ridge of scar tissue beneath the fur. "I know. I'm tired too. It's been a long day. But Sienna didn't stop. She pressed harder, her whine growing more insistent. Her eyes locked onto Maya's with an intensity that made Maya's breath catch. Sienna, enough. Maya stood, trying to ignore the sudden wave of fatigue that washed over her. She'd been feeling run down lately. Too many 18-hour days. Not enough sleep. Nothing a few days of rest wouldn't fix. Sienna sat, but her eyes never left Maya's chest. Her tail didn't wag. We'll start training tomorrow, Maya said to Collins as she exited the kennel. I want her cleared for active duty within 2 weeks. Collins shook his head. Your funeral, Captain. Don't say I didn't warn you. As Maya walked away, she felt it, a tightness in her chest that she'd been ignoring for weeks. Stress, she told herself. Just stress. She was 32 years old, ran 5 miles every morning, passed every physical with flying colors. Behind her in the kennel, Sienna stood pressed against a chain-link fence, watching, waiting, knowing what Maya refused to see. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Somewhere in the distance, a helicopter lifted off into the evening sky. And in the kennel, a 3-legged dog who'd been labeled broken began the most important mission of her life, saving the woman who just saved her. NATO peacekeeping base, Eastern Europe 841 days earlier. Maya's alarm screamed at 0500 hours. She slapped it silent and immediately regretted the sudden movement. The tightness in her chest had graduated to a dull, persistent ache that radiated down her left arm. Stress. Just stress. She'd been telling herself that for 3 weeks now, ever since she'd taken Sienna from a kennel. 3 weeks of training sessions that should have been straightforward but had become increasingly frustrating battles of will. Sienna could clear an obstacle course in record time. She could detect explosives with 98% accuracy. She could track a scent trail through half a mile of dense forest without hesitation. But the moment they stopped, the moment Maya caught her breath and tried to praise her, Sienna would transform. The focused working dog would vanish, replaced by something Maya couldn't understand. Sienna would press against Maya's chest, whine, paw at her uniform, refuse to move until Maya physically pushed her away. It's like she's trying to tell you something, Corporal Davis had said yesterday, watching their session with concerned eyes. She's trying to tell me she's broken. Maya had snapped back, immediately regretting her tone. Sorry, I know she can do this. I know she's not what Collins says she is. Now, pulling on her uniform in the pre-dawn darkness, Maya felt a familiar ache intensify. She pressed her hand against her chest, waiting for it to pass. It always passed. Her reflection in the small mirror looked tired, dark circles under her eyes. Face thinner than it had been a month ago. She'd lost weight. Stress would do that. The deployment had been harder than expected. Longer hours, more responsibility, less sleep. Nothing a strong cup of coffee couldn't fix. Sienna was waiting outside her quarters, as she had been every morning for the past 3 weeks. The dog's amber eyes tracked Maya's every movement as she approached. Morning, girl. Ready to show Collins what you're made of. The evaluation was in 2 days. 2 days to prove that Sienna wasn't a liability everyone claimed. 2 days to show that a 3-legged dog could still serve. 2 days to save a career that Maya had already decided was worth saving. They started with basic obedience. Sit, stay, heel. Sienna performed each command flawlessly, her 3 legs carrying her with surprising grace and speed. Other handlers stopped to watch, their expressions shifting from skepticism to grudging admiration. She's fast, Davis called out. Faster than some 4-legged dogs I've seen. Maya felt a surge of pride. She's a fighter. She just needed someone to believe in her. They moved to the obstacle course. Sienna launched herself over barriers, navigated tunnels, weaved through poles with precision that made Maya's chest swell with hope. This was it. This was the dog she knew Sienna could be. Then Maya raised her hand to signal a stop. Sienna froze mid-stride, but instead of sitting at attention as trained, she limped directly to Maya. Her nose pressed against Maya's chest, hard, insistent. A low whine built in her throat. No. Maya's voice came out sharper than intended. Sienna, sit. The dog didn't sit. She pressed harder, her remaining front paw lifting to scratch at Maya's uniform. The whine grew louder, more desperate. "Sienna," I said, "sit." Maya grabbed the dog's collar, pulling her back. "What is wrong with you?" Around them, the other handlers had stopped working. Maya felt their eyes on her, felt their judgment. This was exactly what Collins had warned about: erratic behavior, unreliable performance. Maya's chest tightened, not from emotion, but from something physical, something real. The ache spread across her ribs like fingers squeezing. She stumbled backward, one hand pressed against her sternum. Sienna lunged forward, breaking free from Maya's grip. She pressed her entire body against Maya's legs, forcing her to sit on the ground. The whine had become almost frantic. "Captain Rodriguez?" Davis jogged over, his face creased with concern. "Ma'am, are you all right?" "I'm fine." Maya pushed Sienna away, harder this time. The dog stumbled on her 3 legs, but immediately returned. "I'm fine. She's doing that thing again. That thing where she acts like something's wrong with you." "Nothing's wrong with me." Maya's voice cracked. She stood, swaying slightly. The world tilted, then righted itself. "I'm just tired. We're all tired." But Sienna wasn't tired. Sienna was terrified. Her amber eyes locked onto Maya's with an intensity that transcended training, transcended the handler-dog relationship. In those eyes, Maya saw something she'd been refusing to acknowledge: recognition, understanding, knowledge. Sienna knew something Maya didn't, or rather, something Maya refused to know. "Let's call for today," Davis said quietly. "You look like you could use some rest." Maya wanted to argue, wanted to prove she was fine, that Sienna was fine, that everything was fine. But the ache in her chest had become impossible to ignore. It pulsed with each heartbeat, irregular, wrong. "Yeah," she whispered. "Maybe you're right." That night, Maya lay in her bunk with Sienna pressed against her side. The dog hadn't left her since the training ground. Every few minutes, Sienna would lift her head, press her nose against Maya's chest, and whine softly. "I don't understand what you want," Maya whispered into the darkness. "I'm trying to save you. Why won't you let me?" Sienna's response was to press closer, her scarred head resting directly over Maya's heart, listening, monitoring, waiting for the moment when Maya would finally understand. The evaluation was in 48 hours, but Maya's heart was running out of time much faster than that. NATO peacekeeping base, Eastern Europe 839 days earlier. The morning of the evaluation arrived with cruel clarity. Bright sun, cool air, perfect conditions. Maya had barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt that persistent ache in her chest, heard Sienna's whining in the darkness. At 0600 hours, she stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her uniform for the 3rd time. Her hands trembled slightly. The face staring back at her looked pale, drawn. She pressed her palm against her chest, feeling the irregular flutter beneath her ribs. Just nerves. Just the evaluation. "Captain Rodriguez?" A knock at her door. "Corporal Davis. Collins is ready for you. Training ground Charlie in 15 minutes. "Copy that." Maya's voice sounded steadier than she felt. Sienna waited outside as always, but this morning, the dog's behavior was different. She didn't stand at attention. She pressed immediately against Maya's legs, her nose jabbing at Maya's chest before they'd even started walking. "Not today," Maya whispered, gently pushing her away. "Today you have to be perfect. Today you have to show them what I know you are." They walked to the training ground in silence. With each step, Maya felt the weight of what was coming. If Sienna failed, she'd be retired, sent to some civilian home where she'd spend her remaining years as a pet, her purpose stripped away. Maya couldn't let that happen. Wouldn't let that happen. Training ground Charlie was already crowded when they arrived. Word had spread about the 3-legged dog's evaluation. Handlers lined the perimeter, some curious, some skeptical, all watching. Major Collins stood in the center, clipboard in hand, his expression unreadable. Beside him, Lieutenant Chun and 2 other evaluators waited with stopwatches and assessment forms. "Captain Rodriguez." Collins's voice carried across the field. Are you and K9 Sienna ready to begin? Maya's chest tightened. She forced herself to stand straight, to project confidence she didn't feel. Yes, sir. We're ready. Collins nodded. We'll conduct 3 assessments. Obstacle course for physical capability, explosive detection for operational effectiveness, and obedience under distraction for discipline. She need to pass all 3. He paused, his eyes moving to Sienna. Given her condition, I'm willing to adjust time standards, but the behavior must be flawless. Understood, sir. Begin with the obstacle course. Maya led Sienna to the starting line. Around them, other handlers had stopped their training to watch. She could feel their eyes, hear their whispered doubts. The 3-legged dog, the broken one, the liability. Sienna ready? Maya's voice came out steadier than she felt. Sienna's entire body tense, coiled like a spring, but her eyes remained locked on Maya's face, searching for something Maya refused to acknowledge. Go! Sienna launched forward, 3 legs pumping in perfect rhythm. She cleared the first barrier with grace that made the crowd gasp, through the tunnel without hesitation, up and over the wall, her powerful hind legs compensating for the missing front limb, weaving through poles with precision that would have impressed even with 4 legs. Maya's heart swelled with pride, then literally swelled with pain. Sharp, sudden, radiating. She stumbled, catching herself on a nearby post. Her vision blurred momentarily, before clearing. Sienna crossed the finish line in 41 seconds, faster than Maya's best 4-legged dog had ever managed. But instead of sitting at attention for praise, Sienna spun around and raced back to Maya. No, Maya breathed. Not now. Please, not now. Sienna pressed against Maya's legs, her nose jabbing at Maya's chest with desperate urgency. The whine that emerged from her throat wasn't the sound of a broken dog. It was the sound of a dog watching her handler die and being powerless to stop it. Sienna, sit, Maya commanded, her voice sharp with panic and pain. Sienna didn't sit. She pressed harder, her remaining front paw scratching at Maya's uniform. Interesting behavior, Collins noted, making marks on his clipboard. Let's proceed to explosive detection. See if she can maintain focus under operational conditions. They moved to the mock village, a maze of crates, vehicles, and building facades where 3 training explosives had been hidden. Sienna needed to find all 3 within 10 minutes to pass. Maya gave a command with a hand that trembled. Search. For a heartbeat, Sienna hesitated. Her amber eyes locked onto Maya's, and in them Maya saw something that made her throat close. Pure, undiluted fear. Not fear of the evaluation. Fear of leaving Maya alone. Fear of what would happen if she did her job instead of the job she'd assigned herself. Search, Maya repeated, softer. Please, girl, I need you to do this. Sienna's ears flattened. Then, with visible reluctance, she turned and began to work. Her nose swept low across the ground. 2 minutes. First explosive found, marked with a perfect sit alert. The crowd murmured approval. For minutes. Second explosive located beneath a vehicle. Sienna's alert was textbook perfect. Maya felt hope surge, along with another spike of pain that nearly brought her to her knees. She gripped a nearby crate, forcing herself to stay upright. Just a few more minutes. Just long enough for Sienna to finish. 6 minutes in, Sienna's nose led her to the 3rd explosive, tucked into a building facade. Maya could see it from where she stood. Sienna's body language said she'd found it, but Sienna didn't alert. Instead, she turned, abandoned the explosive, limped directly back to Maya with a speed that bordered on frantic. No, Maya whispered. Sienna, no, please. Sienna reached her and immediately pressed her entire body against Maya's legs. Her nose jabbed at Maya's chest, once, twice, 3 times. The whine that came from her throat was almost a scream. Sienna, I gave you a command. Maya's voice broke. Please, please, you have to finish. The pain in Maya's chest exploded. Sharp, crushing, radiating down her left arm and up into her jaw. Her vision tunneled, the world darkening at the edges. She was falling. The last thing she felt before the ground rushed up was Sienna's body, positioning itself to break her fall. The last thing she heard was a dog's desperate howl. Not the sound of a broken animal, but the sound of a hero who'd been screaming a warning that no one would hear. Then darkness. The evaluation was over. Sienna had failed every test that mattered to the military, but she'd passed the only test that truly mattered. NATO-based medical facility, Eastern Europe 839 days earlier. Maya woke to the rhythmic beeping of a heart monitor and the antiseptic smell of a military hospital. Her chest felt heavy, constricted, like someone had wrapped steel bands around her ribs, and 4 lines snaked into her left arm. The electrodes dotted her skin beneath a thin hospital gown. Captain Rodriguez. A woman's voice, calm and professional. Try not to move too quickly. Maya turned her head. A doctor stood beside her bed, Major Sarah Chun, the base's chief medical officer. Her expression was carefully neutral, which immediately told Maya everything she needed to know. Something was very wrong. Sienna, Maya croaked. Her throat felt like sandpaper. Where's? Your dog is fine. She's with Corporal Davis. Chin pulled up a chair, her movements deliberate. We need to talk about what happened during your evaluation. I passed out. Stress. I've been pushing too hard. You had a cardiac event, Captain. Chen's voice was gentle but firm. Your heart stopped for 43 seconds. If Corporal Davis and the medics hadn't been right there, if they hadn't started CPR immediately. She paused. You would have died on that training ground. The words hung in the air like smoke. Maya stared at the ceiling tiles, counting them. 12 across, 16 down, 192 tiles total. Anything to avoid processing what she'd just heard. That's not possible, she finally said. I'm 32 years old. I run 5 miles every morning. I passed my physical 6 months ago with flying colors. 6 months ago, you didn't have a critical arrhythmia. Chin pulled out a tablet, swiping through what looked like test results. We've run every cardiac test available at this facility. EKG, echocardiogram, stress test, what we could do while you were stable. The results are conclusive. She turned the tablet toward Maya. The screen showed a heart rhythm that even Maya's untrained eye could see was wrong. Instead of regular peaks and valleys, the line jumped erratically, missing beats, adding extra ones, creating a pattern that looked more like static than a heartbeat. Long QT syndrome. Chin continued. It's a genetic condition that affects your heart's electrical system. In your case, it's severe. The stress of the deployment, the lack of sleep, the physical exertion. It all created the perfect storm. Maya's hands clenched the thin hospital blanket. How long have I had this? Probably your whole life, but it can remain asymptomatic for years, even decades. Then something triggers it. Stress, exhaustion, certain medications. Once it's triggered, Chen's expression softened. Captain, you're lucky to be alive. Lucky. The word tasted bitter. What's the treatment? Medication? Surgery? When can I return to duty? The silence that followed was answer enough. You can't return to duty, Chen said quietly. Not here, not in any combat zone. The condition is manageable with medication and lifestyle changes, but the stress of deployment could trigger another event. Next time, you might not have medics standing right there. So that's it. Maya's voice rose. One bad day and my career's over? Your career isn't over, but your deployment is. We're medevacing you to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany within 48 hours. From there, you'll be sent stateside for ongoing treatment and evaluation. Maya closed her eyes. 12 years of service. 12 years of training, deployments, sacrifices. Gone. Because her heart had decided to betray her. There's something else, Chin said, her tone shifting. Something unusual. Maya opened her eyes. Your dog, Sienna. According to the reports, she's been exhibiting strange behavior for weeks. Pressing against your chest. Whining. Refusing to leave your side during training. She was being difficult. Adjusting to her injury. She was detecting your arrhythmia. Chin leaned forward. Captain, cardiac alert dogs are specially trained to detect changes in their handler's heart rhythm. It takes months of intensive training. But Sienna, A dog with no such training. A dog you'd only been working with for 3 weeks. She was trying to warn you. The words hit Maya like a physical blow. Every moment of frustration. Every time she'd pushed Sienna away. Every command she'd given while the dog desperately tried to save her life. She knew, Maya whispered. She knew I was dying, and I kept telling her she was broken. Dogs have abilities we don't fully understand, Chin said. Some can detect seizures before they happen. Others can smell cancer. Sienna detected your cardiac condition without any training. She tried to tell you the only way she knew how. Maya's vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. Where is she now? With Corporal Davis. He's been keeping her calm. Chin hesitated. She's been very distressed since you collapsed. Won't eat. Won't leave the door of the medical facility. I need to see her. Not yet. You need rest. Your heart. My heart is broken either way. Maya's voice cracked. Please, I need to see her. I need to tell her I'm sorry. Chin studied her for a long moment, then nodded. 15 minutes. But if your vitals spike, she leaves immediately. 10 minutes later, the door opened. Corporal Davis entered, and behind him, limping on 3 legs, came Sienna. The dog's amber eyes found Maya immediately. For a heartbeat, neither moved. Then Sienna crossed the room in 3 bounds, pressing her scarred head against Maya's hand. I'm sorry, Maya whispered, her fingers tangling in Sienna's fur. I'm so sorry, girl. You were trying to save me, and I was too stupid to listen. Sienna's tail wagged once. Then she carefully, gently, placed her head on Maya's chest, right over her heart, listening, monitoring, doing the job she'd assigned herself from the very first day, protecting the handler who'd finally understood. NATO-based medical facility, Eastern Europe 837 days earlier. Major Collins arrived on Maya's second day in the hospital. He stood at the foot of her bed, a manila folder in his hands, his expression carefully neutral. Captain Rodriguez. His voice was formal, but something in his eyes had softened. I've completed my evaluation report on K9, Sienna. Maya's heart monitor beat faster. She forced herself to breathe slowly, evenly. Another spike could send the nurses running. Given her performance, abandoning the search, refusing commands, standard protocol requires immediate retirement from active service. He opened the folder. However, Major Chin provided additional medical documentation, timeline correlation between Sienna's behavioral changes and your cardiac episodes. He paused, and Maya saw something she'd never seen before in the hard-edged officer: respect. The dog wasn't broken. Captain, she was trying to save your life. Maya's vision blurred. She blinked hard, refusing to let the tears fall. That doesn't change the fact that she failed her evaluation, Collins continued, but it changes everything about where she goes next. He pulled out a second document, setting it on Maya's bed. Adoption papers. She's yours if you want her. Maya stared at the forms. Her hands shook as she picked them up. Sir, I'm being medically discharged. I don't know where I'll end up. I don't even know if I can take care of myself. That dog spent 3 weeks screaming that you were dying. Collins's voice cracked just slightly. She broke protocol, abandoned her training, risked everything to protect you, and you're asking if you're good enough for her? I failed her, Maya whispered. Every time she tried to warn me, I pushed her away. I called her broken. I almost let them put her down because I was too stubborn to listen. And she forgave you the second you woke up. Collins gestured toward the door. Beyond it, Maya could hear soft whining. Sienna, waiting. Always waiting. That's what dogs do, Captain. They forgive us for being human. Maya looked down at the papers. Her signature line waited, blank and terrifying. What if I can't give her the life she deserves? Her voice broke. What if I'm too sick? What if you're exactly what she needs? Collins interrupted. You're both wounded. You're both being forced into retirement before you're ready. You're both going to spend the rest of your lives figuring out who you are without the uniform. He leaned forward. Sounds like you're perfectly matched to me. Maya's tears finally fell, hot and unstoppable. She thought about Sienna's amber eyes, the way she'd pressed against Maya's chest, desperate to be heard, the way she'd broken her fall, the way she'd placed her head over Maya's heart in this very room, still protecting, still serving, still loving despite everything. "She saved my life," Maya whispered. "Yes," Colin said simply. "Now let her save the rest of it too." Maya's hand trembled as she picked up the pen. Her signature was barely legible through the tears, but was there, permanent, binding. "She's yours," Colin said softly. "Take care of each other." He opened the door. Sienna limped in immediately, her 3 legs carrying her straight to Maya's bedside. She pressed her scarred head against Maya's hand, and Maya felt it. The unconditional forgiveness, the absolute loyalty, the love that asked for nothing except to be allowed to stay. "We're going home, girl," Maya sobbed into Sienna's fur. "I don't know where that is yet, but we're going together." Sienna's tail wagged once. It was enough. It was everything. Landstuhl Regional Medical Center, Germany, 825 days earlier. The rehabilitation ward allowed service dogs. Maya had fought for that exception and won. Every morning, Sienna woke before the nurses arrived. She'd place her head on Maya's chest, listening, monitoring. When Maya's heart rhythm steadied, Sienna's tail would wag. Permission granted to start the day. Physical therapy was hardest. Maya's body, weakened by medication and bed rest, struggled with simple tasks. Walking to the bathroom left her breathless. Climbing stairs felt impossible. But Sienna limped beside her, 3 legs matching Maya's unsteady gait. When Maya wanted to quit, Sienna pressed against her leg. When Maya cried in frustration, Sienna rested her scarred head on Maya's lap. "You don't give up?" Maya whispered one night, her fingers tracing the scars where Sienna's leg used to be. "So neither do I." They healed in parallel. 2 warriors learning that survival wasn't weakness, that asking for help wasn't failure, that sometimes the bravest thing you could do was simply keep breathing. 6 weeks later, they boarded a plane to the United States. Destination uncertain, future unknown, but they had each other, and that was enough. If this story touched your heart, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs hope. What moment moved you most? Have you experienced a rescue dog's healing power? Drop a comment below. Want more? Click now to see the Prison Break story.